zippers are interesting. Those zippers are very interesting, Obli. What the heck? Very forward. I like it. I like it quite a bit. Nice. So we're doing tabletop talk next, but I will need a second to change everything over, and then I also need to pee. And this is not Valheim, this is a talk show. Done. Okay. Oh yeah, perfect. Let me call you. Let's connect this. Connect this.
Hello.
Hi. I have to make you visible.
Yes.
Bum.
Discord, can you please not have a sparkling rocket ship? Thanks. Like now it highlights suggested activities. You guys can do know what I mean? You can play phone.
Yeah, that's I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, let me close off some things.
Close some things and open some things and put other things in other things.
Yes, exactly. Grab this over here. And with the sweet mark of wherever this actor is on screen.
Yes.
Folks, we can begin. Make this bigger. Why is it like this? What?
You like this?
Oh, I didn't like
Alice
did not
screaming
like
in the
me
backseat.
resizing this. Okay. I will need a minute more to post about this. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. How's everybody doing today? Hello, Sundered.
So there we go. And then the tweeter.
Ah, yes. Esteemed slug butt moderator is here.
Standard, you're a trooper for being here today, because I know that this episode got to you.
Yes. This episode is the living manifestation of the concerned meme.
Okay.
Well, it's good to hear that you had fun streaming Oblivious Damsel. It's really good to see you
good
do
sign.
that.
Yeah. I will try to hang out next time you do it.
Yeah.
Though if you play Genshin, I'm gonna be real, I'm not a big fan of that game.
Yeah.
It's good that you're having fun with it. It's just not for me. Anyway, Drake, do a little dance, please. I have to pee.
All right. I will do a little dance. I shall make a little love. I'm all ready for this, guys. So, well, what other games do you plan on playing, Oblivious, other than Genshin Impact and Kingdom Hearts? Because you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, right? I don't remember. Could have sworn you were. I know that we have a few Kingdom Hearts super fans in the Discord. Okay. Wasn't it Tiny Dancer? Because Sundered, you're the Rocket Man. We want you to hold us closer. Hold me closer, Sundered. I don't know if we're really doomed. Though we are reviewing the Dallas, the television role-playing game. Now, note that, like, it says role-playing game on the cover, so... You're not a Kingdom Hearts fan. I love you. All right, Oblivious Damsel, I love you. I love you unconditionally now. I do not like Kingdom Hearts at all. This redeems you completely. It is okay. You may play Genshin Impact as much as you want then. I cannot stand Kingdom Hearts. I just cannot. It is... I can't take it seriously that technically Donald Duck is the most powerful magician in all the universe.
What the fuck am I coming back to? What is going on, Donald Duck? Kingdom Hearts?
Yes. I was mentioning the number one reason why I hate Kingdom Hearts. And yes, Wags, that's the joke. Is it unconditional love if your love is given on condition of not liking Kingdom Hearts? Yes, that's the joke.
Yes, kind of is. Also, yeah, for me, it's just the fact that Goofy is there.
Goofy.
And those fucking boat shoes and everything. Like, it looks so dumb. I hate the art style. And then everything else about it is also bad.
Like, the super-powered trench coat in Final Fantasy 13 is bad enough, but Donald Duck being the most powerful black mage ever, no. Just no. No.
Yeah, honestly. I'm gonna hide that so we can see the text a bit better. Seeing why butt wings are already intruding on the space.
Yes.
You know what? Can we do this? And then actually see another actor.
Another actor.
So this game.
Do you want to stream it to me too?
Oh yeah, I should do that. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, good.
I mean, only the best for you. Yeah.
Da-da-da-da.
So, yeah. What is this? What is this, folks? What the fuck are we looking at here? Well, this is the Rules of Play, Dallas, the television role-playing game, released by SBI and copyright 1980, Lorimar Productions, Inc., all rights reserved. I think that's actually the movie company. What the fuck is this? Well, this is the desperate attempt by SPI to get some new customers, because the history with SPI is basically they were making like war games in the 70s, and they were like making rules for them and then selling miniatures, but a lot of people were just like using their own minis and using the rules. Or it's a case of, okay, like Bob owns the rules, I don't have to buy the book, that kind of thing, right? So they were kind of slowly but surely gonna go out of business. So they were like, we need a new customer base. And who better to play role-playing games than this guy? I ask you. Look at him. Like, don't you want him at your table?
He looks like a knockoff of the Pip-Boy with that grin.
Yeah, it's true.
Like the generic that you buy at Costco version of the Pip-Boy.
So that they were not as bad about it, but that the thing was that their customer base really was not buying their miniatures, like factually. and so they were hurting for money. Like it's a ways where people who wanted to make miniature rules and wargame rules just didn't get enough money out of it, which is like it's capitalism for you, right? This is one of the first big for the time, right? Failures of a company in the space of games, role-playing games. But yeah, their moonshot was to try and make a new customer base appear. People who like Dallas the TV series, which at that time apparently was really big. I couldn't speak to that. I just know it ran on German TV for a long ass time in like the afternoon, Dallas. Like there was always a case of you turn on the TV, you see Dallas and you groan because you don't want to watch it because anything else would have been better.
Yes.
And then you just change channels because you see this guy with this dumb cowboy hat and I guess like basically some sort of crime drama / money people drama, interpersonal thing where a bunch of people like you don't live in a family just fight over oil money in Texas. Which, what could be less relatable, right? Couldn't even. But yeah.
Hey. My grandmother was a massive fan of the television show. She watched every episode religiously. I didn't, because I didn't give a fuck about these rich idiots and their messed up lives. But and then they got a reboot TV series a couple years ago, and it's still going as far as I know.
Is it? Wow, I didn't know Dallas was back. This is a hot commodity. Then we can play the new Dallas game, Dallas series with this rule set. Yeah, but here we are, right? So I'm sure you are very curious what this is, and you are curious if this is like playable and if this is like a usable system and everything.
Because you want to do this for April Fools.
We will get in. The fact that this is, I did not plan this to be April 1st episode, but it's kind of funny.
It's perfect, actually.
I want to point out before we go into it that if I give this game props in any way, I mean it. Because everyone will expect me and Drake to rag on it at every level, right? Anyway, so I like that they start with read this first and then to the director. Like you don't at this point, no book has ever needed a what's a role-playing game section more than this. Like for real though. Like and they don't have it. That's the funny part. It's the one book that I've seen where there isn't by the way, a role-playing game that is when you like play pretend in your mind and with your friends. That's just missing here. So if you just don't know what a role-playing game is, they don't really give you a hint here.
No, I think this was the first one to just completely not even mention what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because it's 1980, and back then almost everybody's what is a role-playing game was in every book. Like I was looking through Bushido, which was a 1979 publication, and they spell it out like crazy. But this, no, they don't. They just
that my point here is squarely that if a wine mom from 1980 who likes Dallas buys this book somehow, or this story, it's a box set. This isn't actually a book. These are just the booklets of the box set. Then they will not know what the fuck is going on. Okay, Obli, have a good one. There's directors, so yeah, but they tell you here you need like a bunch of people. It comes with let's just this is the first impression. This booklet includes the complete rules to Dallas the television role-playing game, as well as 3 complete original scripts. While it is necessary for all players to generally understand the game rules, it is especially important that one player understand the working of the game in detail. This player, designated the director, does not participate in the game in the same manner as the other players. Rather than assume the role of a character, the director is responsible for creating situations, maintaining the flow of game, and acting as final authority on rules interpretation. This booklet and the accompanying scriptwriter's guide are provided for the director's benefit. To the director, you must thoroughly understand the rules yourself before beginning a game, because it will be your job to teach the other players the game. First, read over the 4 pages of rules. 4 pages. Paying particular attention to the definitions of game terms, note that the rules are arranged decimally for easy access and cross-reference. For instance, scenario section 4, character interaction is divided into several subsections, blah blah blah. Once you have grasped the rules, read through the sample scene provided in the scriptwriter's guide. The sample explains action by action a typical game in progress. When you feel sufficiently familiar with the rules and have selected an episode to be played, explain the rules to the other players. The character sheets, which the players should have before them from the outset, contain a rules outline which they can refer to during your explanation and throughout the game. Be aware that situations will arise that are not expressly covered in the rules. In such instances, you should come to a decision that is consistent with the structure of the game. A section of director's notes is provided in the scriptwriter's guide to help you interpret the rules and maintain the flow of play. G-Book, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It is not the worst intro I've ever seen, but this just misses so many important pieces of information for, again, someone who buys this. They explicitly shouldn't be a war gamer already if their pitch is to be successful.
There's other little things, the section 4, 4.1, 4.2, etc. This is back when all role-playing games were being written by engineers who had served in the military. So you can tell by how they laid things out, how you were supposed to cross-reference things, etc. And it really shows because none of this flows like somebody who actually writes books. None of it does. It reads more like, what are they called? Technical manuals. Because what is the first thing we see? Read this first.
Yeah.
Which is exactly like army manuals.
Yep.
Read this first.
Yep. That is super true. You can see, like, this is an old school book just again. Like, if we look back at, for example, Boot Hill, they also didn't lose any time.
No,
they knew who they were writing for. My point is explicitly that as a thing for a new audience who isn't engineers who are nerds who play war games, this fails hard.
Yeah, it really does.
This looks like a sales brochure for Texas Oil. Yeah, I guess it is kind of. I mean, all of Dallas is that, isn't it? I don't know really. Looks like an interesting game. Well, again, if I say anything good about it, April 1st, I have to point it out. I will mean it. So let's actually get into what the rules are. So in this game, each player assumes the role of one major character from the television show Dallas and acts the part of that character throughout the game. To help players assume their roles, the game includes character sheets which detail the values assigned to blah blah blah. So we are to be one of these 7 plus 2 more, I guess.
Yes.
Again, I don't know this show enough. I know he is the main guy. He's like the old patriarch. And he has a son who thinks he's hot shit and he really isn't. And the son is a wife who is within the show really hot. That's what I remember. It's about the sum total.
It doesn't really have much depth beyond that, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like, again, the flaw here is obvious. The flaw is so obvious I don't have to point it out even. The flaw is that we are in Dallas and not somewhere else. This product was never gonna land with wine mums in the 80s. There's no way.
No.
But anyway, so again, they point out that the director needs to know the rules. We make distinction between major characters, who are the 9 that we talked about, and the minor characters who are everybody else, like supporting cast, basically.
Yep.
An organizational character is a group of, oh yeah, and organizational characters, like for example, the FBI or the police.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yep.
will get to what that is later.
Yep.
So,
This is one of the few things that I would say is actually good for considering in your games in the future. Anybody who runs tabletop games, having this delineated concept of you have minor characters, and it could be your minions. They could maybe not be.
Yeah. I would even
say with organizations.
Yeah, organizations also works as more like if you're a classic roleplay game, like where your players meet in a tavern and then go to slay orcs or whatever. You probably don't need an organizational sheet for like the city guard because it doesn't really matter, right? But having like a list of important organizations to your game is not the worst idea, yeah?
Yeah.
Sure. Let's see. We have abilities. Persuasion, coercion, seduction, investigation are used by characters to affect and resist one another. C4-3, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Power is a measure of characters' general strength and used in negotiation, conflict resolution, and determining a winner. And we have luck also. So the description of power here is straight up wrong because it reads like it's like your physical prowess or something. It's not. It's like how much pull you have in society, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this game is not going to be about GER shooting his son because he took his oil money. This game is going to be about something else. We'll see soon.
Yep, very soon.
Okay, let's see. Characters attempt to affect one another by using the abilities to persuade, curse, blah, blah, blah. We already know that the successful attempt obliges the target of that attempt to give something up. Control, information, power, etc. See later for details. Control of a character or plot device allows the controlling player to use the character or plot device in any way she sees fit within the restrictions of the rules. So what this means is if I affect the character or thing successfully, I can take control of it. And then, like, for example, I can bribe the police. I could, this was probably a persuasion. I could bribe the police chief to, like, help me. And then I control the local police because I have pull with them. A plot device is an object or circumstance introduced by the director to alter the game situation or to provide goals for the players. Plot devices can be controlled. See scriptwriter's guide for details. I like that these are always referring you somewhere, and I hate that as well because it's really bad writing. Like, plot devices exist. They are plot devices. Please refer to the writer's guide. That's what this says. Like the writing is clunky as fuck in many places.
It really is. Again, engineering writing. Please refer to this booklet, subsection 3.
Because it's the next one as well. Players may protect the specified number of characters and plot devices, increasing the resistance to other players' effect attempts. How? Tell me how. What are you doing? Characters may resist other players' effect attempts, and then so these are our big 5 game mechanics. Okay.
Yep.
Then we have the director who just runs the game. We all know what the director is. So each game of the should include the following: 1 rule booklet, 56 character cards. Yeah, this is, by the way, I'm gonna spoil you on that. Like, if we scroll down in this book, this is what it looks like. You are meant to literally like cut all this out.
Yep.
And have all of this as cards for all of you guys, which is why there's actual card backs in the book.
Yep.
Which
this was the days.
That is sure a way to like have 10 pages of your book be like not full of rules, but technically still be important. I guess 8 pages.
Still, yeah.
Yeah, that is very, I mean, this is the time role playing was a super niche hobby, and photocopy was actually also rare, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, because I don't remember this, but my future brother-in-law remembers this, where he and the boys would like gather together whatever they needed to photocopy. Then they'd all go to the local Kinkos and
Mm,
then spend like I don't know a few hours there because the photocopiers there were really slow. And then after they were done, oh yeah, now we've got a whole bunch of character sheets for all these games we want to try.
yeah. And now we see a sample character. This is Esteban Cruz, a minor character. He's a Uring family retainer. I love that he's literally a retainer.
Literally.
They have a little gender thing. They have a card number for him. And they have stats, which is power 0, persuasion, blah, blah, blah. You see it here. Pretty good luck, I think. No special abilities. And I can already tell you, the first number, if this character were to persuade someone, he would have 14. If this character were to be persuaded, he would have 13 to resist. What this means. So, for example, this guy is bad at coercion, but very good at, comparatively good at resisting coercion. Not very investigation happy, but pretty. The most useful ability probably is just to persuade someone to do something.
Yep.
And then maybe seduce someone, but probably persuade the way this works. So, how do you play, actually? Like, this is all the stats you need and all the stats you're going to get. Like, major characters also have this, just have to have fire stats. We're going to see those soon. So, much of the game consists of negotiating among the players. In order to keep the negotiation fresh and interesting, new information and characters must be introduced from time to time. Players must also be allowed some way to make good on some of their threats. In order to proceed smoothly, it is necessary that there be a sequence of players' actions. The sequence of player play breaks each episode into scenes. Each scene is further divided into phases. How to use sequence of play. Players decide who will be director, blah, blah, blah. Okay, director gives them the cards. Player, okay. So a scenario, this is the next important thing. A scenario, as it says here, each player is also given his or her victory conditions for this episode, and as well as any secrets they are to have. Victory conditions include control of characters and plot devices. Players should write down their victory condition together, blah, blah, okay. But you shouldn't tell the other people. That's important. Yep. Only you know your victory condition. Director announces to our players the general information for the episode to be played. Okay, so we are arriving at the crux of this. This is like a mini lab. Yeah, actually,
it is,
and they aren't fucking telling you because I don't think that was a term they had yet.
No.
So essentially, how this game goes is like this. I'm gonna give it to you straight now. You take your character, you take GER, you get told, well, in this episode, GER needs to control a certain number of assets out of this list, and that's how you win.
Yep.
And then every other player gets told the same thing, how they win. And obviously, there's not like enough assets for everyone. So usually, you fight over these assets with the other players. And to do so, you first negotiate what you want to achieve with people. And second, then you can do actions via your skills. With the important caveat that each character can act once per scene.
Yep.
So this is how it's important, why it's important to have additional characters on your side, minor characters, who you affect to you, because then you can act twice. Or 3 times. I think 3 times is the most you're allowed.
Yeah, 3 times is the max. Yeah. They were obsessed with that back then, of you can't do any more than 3 things on your turn. This is present in Bushido as well. I read that last night as well to get kind of a context for what was being published at the same time as this. And they couldn't be more worlds different. But there are a few things like that kept popping up, like 3 actions, that's your limit.
Yeah. And now I'm going to give you the thing that is not a joke. I think this isn't a terrible rule set to run a mini lab.
No. This I have encountered vampire LARPs that have similar concepts where
Yep.
there is an end state to the LARP and there are win conditions for the LARP.
Yep.
And it's up to the players to figure out how to get to those win conditions.
Yep.
And I will also add this because we discussed this briefly, but I didn't mention this part. I've also seen this present in the very large fantasy medieval submersion LARPs where you actually go and you like stay in an inn in real life and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There was one that was really popular in New Hampshire. I roomed with some people that went to that regularly. Like one of them just played a shopkeeper, so she actually sold handcrafted goods that she made herself at the LARP. So it was like a combination Renfest / LARP. And that was one of the big things is that like you could just do the normal thing where you go kill orcs, get gold, or you could go to you could say I want to be able to have a goal for my character and a win condition, and you could do that. And if you got that over the weekend, your character got experience, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's cool.
this is all stuff that I have seen in action in real life, like not in these exact words, but things that were very, very similar to this.
Yep.
Also, forum roleplay has had this too for a long time.
Super true, yeah.
For a very long time, because they say the last big one I was involved with was Game of Thrones. It lasted 3 months, and by the end of those 3 months, whoever got their win conditions and whoever got it soonest was declared basically the winner for that round.
Mm-hmm.
And that was such good fun because everybody was just. It wasn't necessarily cutthroat, but people were willing to work with each other because not just one person would win, but many people could win. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, this all works really well.
Yep. Like this works well, but they aren't explaining it well.
No.
And they are tying it to a fucking big anchor, which is Dallas.
Yeah.
Like it's really interesting to me that they chose to release this product. I'm not sure if they had like a different one. It's like fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was unable to find that out if there was like this exact same rule set, but run it with like in your fantasy game, or run it with another cheap license, whatever. Because like if you could take this rule set and with a little bit of work, just use it 1-to-1 to do Game of Thrones roleplay or whatever. And everyone is just a house, and then you have minor houses, and then you control them, and they have like resources maybe or some other special thing, and then you just fight over Westeros or whatever the fuck, you know? It would be very doable, like because for a good LARP rule set, you want it to be simple, and like I would go so far as to say. This is usable 1-to-1 for that. You don't have to change anything in the rules.
I don't really think you do either, because like what you were saying, Game of Thrones, none of it is about punching somebody in the face and winning.
Yeah.
None of it is. And having it just be those 4 abilities there, done. And if you wanted to do fantasy, add one that's mysticism. Done.
Yeah,
you know, it's not hard.
You could have a 5th set that is like magic, whatever, and then that can do something special. Or people have just a special that they are magicians, and then their I don't know, their seduction does something special. Like you might have to add a few rules to graft it onto some other setting. But why it works so well is, firstly, there isn't a thing that tells you, oh, you have +5 to sword.
Yeah.
Like, because a LARP rule set where it's about power politicking should not have the ability for someone to flip the table and punch your character in the face until he wins. That's not how that works. You're there to play for politics, right? And for these are exactly the skills you need.
Exactly. I just also had a revelation, a thought. I was comparing this to Vampire LARPs for a second. I just realized this would map 1-for-1 onto a What We Do in the Shadows LARP.
Oh shit! Yeah, that would be great.
This would be perfect for that. That would be absolutely perfect because
Yeah.
the vampires in that setting, it's like it's not the big deal. It's just you can manipulate each other in a funny way then instead.
Yep. 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 Um, but yeah, now that I told you again, it is not a joke. I think this rule set works for that. I just think
Mm-hmm.
they were fucking idiots for tying it to Dallas. Like I don't, it can't compute this fact.
Mm-hmm.
No
Mm-hmm.
one who played war games like Dallas, and no one who liked Dallas plays gonna play a role playing game in this time. Like you, like the customer base is maybe 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
And
Really?
and,
Yeah.
and this is important to say as well, because not only did they not sell this very many copies of this at all, they also alienated the existing audience, and the existing audience bought even less stuff. So they died
Mm-hmm.
as a company directly because they released this.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I don't agree with that necessarily. Like if they do good things, that this is not like this isn't them being Blizzard and doing like stealing breast milk from people in the back room, and then really then you just gloss it over. No, this is just them like doing a weird product and people like killing them over there. It seems weird. Seems weird.
Mm-hmm. It is really weird. It's like when West End Games was at the end of its licensing for Star Wars. They started doing really weird products. Like one example that I can compare this to directly was the Men in Black role playing game. Um, what was their game master? The director.
No.
So yeah.
Ah. I mean, in this thing, director makes sense in the thing. We are supposed to be playing episodes of the show, and
Yes.
so you have a director who directs scenes.
It's
That's it. That the naming is fine.
that's a double entendre in Men in
Oh
Black because
yeah,
it's director of the organization and you're supposed to run it like a movie or a TV show.
yeah, true. But yeah,
So
so how does it work again? You have a negotiation. The director sets you the scene. We're going to see what that means pretty soon. But
yep.
basically, they tell you what they tell each player individually what their win conditions are and what they want to achieve, and maybe even how the good angle might be depending. And then you go to other players and negotiate with them and try to get information from them, like what do you need, what is your thing you definitely want to get. And then if they say the exact thing you want, then you're like, oh, interesting, well, I'm sure we can work together for that. And then you obviously stab them in the back later.
Mm-hmm.
But and then also if someone's like, yeah, I really need the thing that you don't care about, then you're like, oh, that's cool. Maybe we can work together if you help me with this thing, or if you don't like try to take whatever the fuck is up in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Because this even works with A plot, B plot structure, kinda.
It does, yeah.
Um,
And to piggyback onto that, since in the conflict phase you can only take one conflict
mhm.
or resolve one conflict at a time,
Yeah,
that works so well for the A/B plot thing because you're just like,
exactly.
should I work on my main thing or should I
Mhm.
be working on the other thing that's going
Yeah,
on? You have to make a
yeah,
choice.
yeah. And there's nothing in the rules that says I can't be, like, for example, persuading someone on behalf of another player.
Mm-hmm.
You're totally allowed to do that, even if you're a main player who, like, if you want to help your other person win, you can technically.
Mm-hmm.
You can trade those favors even, but there is no stipulation in this anywhere that you can't backstab someone later. That's just not even mentioned. You're supposed to arrive at that idea on your own, and I think if you watch Dallas, I guess you know. So
Yeah, you know right away. Yeah.
Yeah, but then again, conflict phase is that you use your skills. We are getting to that's done soon to usually take control of one of the assets that you need.
Mm-hmm.
So character interaction, commentary, interaction among players is the key element of Dallas. An interesting episode by its nature forces characters to get what they can from other characters, either in the spirit of cooperation or in conflict. So what can you do? You can negotiate.
Mm-hmm.
Blah 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 blah. The director may also permit and encourage certain aspects of negotiation, allowing two or more. Yeah, Like you can leave the room if the director allows it. So that would be down in my understanding of the game to, oh, we are all at family dinner and we are talking over dinner. No one can really leave. But if the next scene is, oh, after dinner, people are like hanging out in the house, then some people can easily nip off to like the library and talk there in secret, and no one gets to listen in, and so on and so forth.
And as a result of the director setting the scene in the first phase, the director's phase, some aspects of negotiation may be closed off or be open depending on how the director sets the scene. I don't remember if they explicitly say that in any of the scripts that follow, but I know that should be implied, but they could just point that out there.
The book didn't have much ink to waste, so they don't really tell you much things. But you can, again, infer. Like, again, in my example of family dinner, if that's the scene, then you can't just leave to like one-on-one a negotiation. But next scene, you might be able to. Or maybe, like, people are in groups later, and the groups can talk, but they can't leave the groups, for example. It's you can make up all kinds of those.
Yep. And once again, the minor character thing comes in once again.
Mm-hmm.
2 or more people leave the room to hatch a plot in secrecy. Can I use my minor character to listen in on them? Yeah, sure.
Maybe you could, yeah. That's actually also not said, but I think I would allow that as a player. Also, importantly, if we had family dinner, you might be able, like, if the lawyer of the family is invited, you might be able to do stuff with them. But if a minor character isn't there, you can't.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if one of the things you have to control is the lawyer, and this is like the, I don't know, 5th scene out of, to be like 10, you might just take chances to control him openly because you don't know if you're going to see him again.
Yes, exactly. Which, that can be some very interesting roleplay, honestly.
Okay, and then we have conflict. In many cases, negotiation will not suffice to meet the character's victory conditions. Most of the time, objectives of the various characters will conflict with one another, calling for stronger measures. Conflict in the game is resolved by comparing one of the... Okay, we are now getting to the only dice mechanic in this.
Yep, only one.
And I'm going to explain it really easily. Let's go back to our guy up here.
Yep.
If... So, no, wait, actually, I must remember myself even... Acting character makes someone... Oh, yeah, right.
Yep.
Resulting number is called a spread.
They use different terms than you would expect, but it winds up being similar to the attacker/defender.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. So how it works. Sorry, I had to get myself into that. So how it works. Let's just take... Esteban is trying to persuade his clone.
Yes.
Esteban is a 14 to do that, and the clone is a 13, giving Esteban a 1 point of persuasion. Meaning in this particular case, he can't do it, because once we know our number that we have there, if it's below 1, or if it's 1 or below, the attempt fails.
Yep.
If the number is above 12 above, because we're going to roll 2d6 to do it. If it's like, if we had 26 or 27, whatever the math is there exactly, it would automatically work.
Yep.
And anything in between, you have a number, let's say it's 8. If you roll below or on that number on 2d6, you do it.
Yep.
And how do you do it if, like, Esteban basically can't do shit then, right? To himself. Because his stats are all bad. Well, the major characters have a power stat, and that can buff temporarily each of these stats 1 to 1, or in the case of coercion 1 to 3. But coercion is the stat that can land you in prison, which is the
Literally.
mechanic in this as well.
Yep, very literally.
Yeah. And then the luck value, I'm not sure if did they tell you properly in here? A
Yeah.
successful effect attempt, the resisting character may use luck value. Characters automatically use blah blah blah.
Yep.
They have one.
You roll equal to your luck value or lower to resist.
Oh, so instead of normal resistance, I can roll my luck. Only if it would succeed. Or if it succeeded, then you can, with luck, maybe resist it. Okay, interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so that's our 2 dice mechanics then. Sorry.
Yep. Just 2. Also, this kind of puts into focus exactly why they had lower is better for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were operating under this assumption that you're comparing 2 numbers. Then you take the difference of those 2 numbers, and then you're trying to roll under that difference.
Yep.
And that was persistent for quite a while, actually.
Yes.
It didn't go away until 3rd edition.
True. And so, I mean, Thaco is basically a weird way to make it so high numbers are good.
It is, yeah.
Again, like with this guy, so at any point, if you roll a 4 low on 2d6, you just don't get affected. So it's, this, the stats go way higher. So your major characters tend to have better stats than this.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the game. And so, does this work for a lab, 1-to-1, like a full lab? Not really, but this works for a smaller lab where not everything is like you basically don't represent each character 1-to-1.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yep.
And this also works for like a game again where you can't express every single person because it's too many.
Yeah.
Or where organizations are affected because Esteban could also just be the police, the Texas Rangers, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as mechanics go, it's simple, and I don't mind it.
Yeah,
straight up.
If there were more than 4 abilities, I would say, you guys went too far.
Yeah.
But the fact that there's just 4, and you have an affecting and a resisting version of that stat, works fine.
Yep.
I would actually even say that this is a good number for most people who would participate in a LARP or an ongoing forum roleplay too, because then this is effectively 8 stats because you have an effect and a resist, and that's enough. You don't need more than that for like numerically quantifying your character.
Yep. And then you can have special abilities to do stuff, and then this game does not have it, but for the actual thing, you would also kind of want a way to raise stats. Mm-hmm. Or lower them even, like through stuff. Like lowering and raising, it's always be done DM fiat, obviously, but I mean, if I survive the 3rd lab, maybe Esteban wants to level up persuasion, I don't know. Then that should be a thing that this book just doesn't come with.
Mm-hmm. And if you get your victory conditions, then, you get more XP to raise things,
Yep.
It's like it's like they're on the surface ready to be used, but they didn't put that part in.
Yeah, I'm sure if that's just been a big success, they would have been like, this is how you level up GER.
Yep, exactly.
But obviously this failed, so. You negotiate, then you grab stuff. You can also like ask for information. Which is kind of up to the DM then. Like you could, if Esteban is under the control of like one of the major characters, one of the major players, he might know about this stuff, and when it comes time to use any of these, you can't just be like, well, I want to like persuade him and then just roll. You will have to tell him, well, I want to persuade him that this is important because I need the, deed to this land because it's oil. There's oil there. Mm-hmm. And then Esteban will, the DM is the director would have to write down, But Esteban now knows that there's a deed to land with oil there. So, and then someone else could use investigation to investigate that out of him, or persuade him to tell him or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like kind of how you build the story up, which works fine. And again, like in a bigger lab, you would probably have more than one DM, and then they would have to share notes, and it's a big nightmare. Like running big labs is a nightmare.
It is. It is completely. I do not envy them. I've never.
Yeah.
I talked to one guy long time ago who ran Vampire LARPs on the weekend, and he said, "I don't even remember my kids' names. I just don't."
Yep.
They might as well all be named Lestat at this point for as many people that submit characters named Lestat to this fucking game.
Yeah. And so now we come to the next bit. So the players decide who's going to be like playing and who's going to be director, blah blah blah. So the director gives each player the character sheet plus character cards they control, devices and stuff. The director also tells players of any special characteristics they might have for this episode. So if you are, for example, high on drugs, then you would get that information and what it does for you. Some characters will be controlled by no player, but may be placed face up on the table. Their identities revealed to the players. Other characters may be placed face down. Their identities unrevealed to the players. So this serves an important thing. You will have idea Dallas, but everyone is playing Lestat. I wouldn't mind that at all. That sounds great. Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of building up to this. We could use these rules to play a fun lab. Just don't do it. Just don't do it in fucking Dallas. Who fucking cares? Like, but yeah. So what we have here is there's face-up cards. Like for example, there might just be the police might be there during. You might know that there's like someone has been investigated. The police is in play for this episode. Let's just say, like during family dinner, it comes out that GER just got a speeding ticket, and maybe there's more to it. Why would he be speeding? But then there's also like 3 face down cards, so you kind of know that no one here has yet revealed the information what the fuck those are, because otherwise they would be in someone's possession, or they would be face up, or maybe only one person got told and they know. Like, you have to figure a lot of shit out during this game. But you can at least tell, okay, there's one more face down card. What the heck is that? Like I can now, from knowing the others, kind of piece together what it should be. So maybe this guy knows, for example, right? That's how you get the flow of the game to stay on target. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily what a lab should be like, but if it's a political thing, again, with like an explicit goal, like, oh, we want peace between our 2 houses, and then like every second character at their table knows their secret objective is to not let that happen. And you can see how that's an interesting evening, right?
Yes. Very interesting. I'd love that. So
each player gets the victory conditions to themselves. Victory conditions include control of characters, blah, blah. They're repeating themselves a lot for having so few pages. And again, then they repeat again, director phase, negotiation phase, conflict phase. Okay. Oh, we already went through this, actually. So we can negotiate. We can have conflict. The procedure is clear. Persuasion. Any character may attempt to affect any other character by using persuasion. So persuasion requires that the affecting character option, affected character, provide information upon demand, or relinquish control of a character or plot device if the affected character is a minor character, or come under the control of an affecting character if the affected character is a non-major character. Come under control of the affecting character if the affected character is a non-major. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I can persuade anyone for information. I can persuade another player for information. They have to give me if I roll correctly.
Yep.
This is where we enter the phase where in a real lab, eventually, like, you have to decide like some stuff randomly. Because then otherwise the player can be like, no, I don't tell you. It's not, my character wouldn't tell you.
Yeah.
But then the other player, but I made you, like, gave you 12 glasses of wine. You're pissed drunk. You would let something slip, and then the DM can be like, yeah, roll it, I guess,
Yeah.
because that is what happens ultimately after a lot of the time.
Mhm. Yeah, because this is what I refer to as Settlers of Catan syndrome. After the first game or two of Settlers of Catan, abruptly everybody's like, "I'm not going to give you any wood, man." That's part of the game. We've got to be able to and willing to do that kind of thing in order
Yeah,
to play the game. I'm sorry.
yeah. And so then, relinquish control of. So if I persuade another major player, they can have to give me one of their minor characters, or
Yep.
I can do it directly to that character, and they come under my control as well.
Mhm.
There's no specialist requirements or consequences for persuasion. Seduction. Provide information, relinquish control, come under control. Same shit. Seduction can be used only against characters of the opposing gender or not related to the seducing character. Yeah, this is the 80s. We would
Yes.
write this differently today. At least they're
Yep.
using fucking gender, but and they're also ruling out that we have incest. So
Yeah. Like, come on.
like, yeah, today you would write this differently, but it's fucking 1980. I can't fault them for this.
I will once again segue back to Game of Thrones for 1 second.
Mhm.
This was one thing that the Game of Thrones tabletop game did well. They also mentioned that seduction is not always necessarily, I want to have sex with you, but also, hey, would you like some hookers?
Yep.
So, like people assume that seduction, because the sexual nature of it necessarily means that those two characters who are participating in the seduction are going to be doing something sexual together. No. That often
Yeah.
doesn't happen, especially in a Game of Thrones like setting. You can have that lascivious uncle who is very good at playing matchmaker, and he would have a high seduction.
Oh yeah, you
But
said
he doesn't actually sleep with anybody.
yeah. But it's just a different, like, basically within the terms of the game, these are just like persuasion always works.
Yep. Always works.
Seduction kind of worse because it only works on certain subset of characters.
Mhm.
Which, yeah, fair enough. It's like
Yep.
that's kind of how it be. Like,
Yep.
if your uncle really wants you to like marry the countess and you're just not into women, then it's not gonna happen.
Exactly.
And so fair enough. Then we have coercion. Any character may attempt to affect any character by using coercion. Provide information, relinquish, and same effects again. If the third option is chosen, the affected character must be compelled to make an effect attempt immediately. Whenever an attempt to coerce an independent minor organism character is unsuccessful, there's a possibility of revenge. Oh, you don't take control in the third one. You just use that character against their will, basically. That's actually cool. So there's a subtle difference there.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I just realized you're a bit too high up. I moved you up here when you were talking, and so yeah, this works. Okay. So each player, other than the player who attempted the coercion, rolls the dice, and the high roller may immediately make a persuasion attempt to control the independent character. The first high roller fails to control, the next high roller may attempt to make an attempt, and so on until the player has a chance. So any other... Oh, this is just for an uncontrolled character. You can coerce some rando.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then they might take revenge by coming under the control of another character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, another character would basically be the one taking the revenge, technically.
Yeah. So,
which is interesting.
This works for me as well. Like, this works as a rule set for what we're talking about.
Yep.
So any character may attempt to affect blah blah with investigation. Special ability. So successful investigation requires the affected character to provide information. Investigation may also be used against the director to identify the identity of characters and plot devices are face down. Yeah.
Yep.
So find stuff out for me, like get rumors, basically, is what this is.
Mm-hmm.
A very useful and underrated skill, I think, that in this game, works. It just fucking works. And then we have special abilities, which are anything. They can have a talent, they can have criminal ability. Murder, I love that. Great. If they're luck stat, and then there's maybe other stuff on the street as well. Who cares? Use of power. So a character can have a power stat. Each point of power can be used to one buff these stats up.
Yep.
Either defensively or offensively. However, if you do it for coercion, it counts triple for attack.
Yep.
That is an interesting little tidbit, but I think it makes sense if you think about it, because I am GER. Whatever. I'm very rich. I can like bury you under litigation for 50 years if you aren't doing what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they won't like you, but that is effective. You're throwing your power around. That is what power is in this game. And yeah, there we are.
Yeah.
And it says again, you can if you have controlled characters, they can also act. Up to 3 of them can act.
Yep.
And then there's a chance that major characters may be inactive for a scene. This is often down to DM fiat. And the game even tells the director, that you are supposed to, if someone is winning too hard, maybe have them sit out a scene. So they, like, the other players have a chance to, like, catch up, to keep it interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because we are supposed to be playing a TV episode, we aren't supposed to just see one guy win. That's not interesting. Which, it works again. Like, that's what the DM is supposed to do. Any leader of the game is supposed to, like, keep it interesting. If your Camarilla game is just, there's no stakes because it's always just the Camarilla winning, then that's a boring ass game.
Yeah.
That is
as I put it once, didn't we just maintain the status quo by doing this? That's boring.
Yeah. And then we are coming with illegal acts. The director indicates that the character has committed an illegal act. The other players may attempt to put the character in jail, picking up victory points in the process. A player who controls the character has the legal authority. The director will specify these, but the FBI, local police, Texas Rangers, and so on are most likely may begin the process. So a player uses investigation ability, blah blah blah, to find out more. The power added to the investigation is doubled. The following adjustments are made to the die roll depending on the type of crime that was committed. So we're subtracting points if it was the more crimey it was, and then the identification gives you 3 victory points, so you suss out the crime. And then the arrest gives you even more victory points, which is...
Yep.
This is the one way I see in this game where a player can just be removed from the episode, basically.
Yeah.
The convicted character loses all power for the rest of the episode. The character is not out of the game, however, since the appeals could take years, which is lovely.
Yep.
The same character need not perform each step of the process. Failure at any step means the attempt cannot proceed until the next scene. If player is successful at each step, the entire process can be completed in one scene. If the suspect is a major character, he/she may use power markers for defense. If the suspect is a controlled character, the controlling major character may use power tokens to assist in the suspect's defense.
Yep.
So
yep.
Please go on. Yours.
So I have a minor character who's a lawyer, and they're really, really good at coercing people. But because they coerced one too many times and they threatened to kill somebody, oh no, illegal act, you can't threaten people. So somebody investigates them. Me, the fat cat oil baron, can attempt to protect my lawyer in this situation at every step of the way.
I spoke out of turn. There wasn't really anyone like recording that shit, so who knows?
Exactly.
So, how to win the game? Well, you get the victory points. That's basically how you win. And then, like, the fact that this is a win condition tells you what year it is as well.
Yes.
Because this game, and here we come to the point where this just fails. That this as a product fails. Like it's a lab. It's a politics lab. You are not supposed to hate each other at the end of that. But if GER just constantly fucks you over, you're not gonna like that game very much. Like, this game fails at like separating the lab from the thing you like. Basically, separates that does not separate the actions you do from the players in those terms. There's no layer of we are playing a character. Because again, no one cares that you are GER in this. I don't believe anyone cares. Like, who the fuck is GER? And like that's where this like falls flat for me. But where I could easily see it succeed as a rule system for something similar. Because if we all know that we are diplomats for these houses and that we have our own agendas and so on and so forth, you can have fun playing. And you won't just feel robbed at the end. But in this game, I would feel pretty fucking robbed if I just get put in jail. Because I like role-play it.
Oh yeah, very much so. Like I just mildly intimidated you, and now I'm in jail. What the fuck? Yeah.
Like, and it shouldn't be counting victory points for this either. Like, this is, in my opinion. It should remove it should be able to remove minor characters. It shouldn't be possible to affect a major character with this. Just for the simple reason that then the player is out of the game. What do you mean? It's like losing first at Monopoly. And then you sit there and don't have fun. I mean, not that Monopoly is fun, but you get what I mean. It's like, oh, your barbarian is dead. Well, that sucks. No, you can't make a new character.
Yep.
Like, not today, next time. But it's 30 minutes in the episode. Yeah, no. No, it's dumb.
Yeah, it's really dumb. There were a lot of board games, especially from the 70s and 80s, or that were popularized during that time, where they had so many concepts of, okay, now you're out. But the game goes on for another hour and a half. What do you mean I'm out?
Yeah, exactly.
And it just loses. It just loses.
Like this, there should be a rule rather that says major characters cannot directly like commit the crime. You have minor characters for that. You kind of burn your minor characters up for advantage. That should be how I would make it work somehow.
Oh yeah, and again, Game of Thrones. That's what you should be doing to begin with.
Yeah.
Tywin doesn't go out and assassinate somebody.
Yeah.
He has somebody do that for him.
Yeah. And of course you acted on the behalf of GER, but the character won't tell you that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you solve this problem, because I think this is legit a problem. It's like, yeah, you get 6 victory points if you throw him in jail or whatever. A conviction must be obtained. Like, what do you mean a conviction must be obtained in like a scene? One of these scenes is literally dinner.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Yes, I've convicted you over dinner. Yes. Because the judge was sitting here having dinner with us. Like, no, it doesn't work that way.
Here we get to one of the episodes, because we are done with rules now.
Yeah, already done.
So, the following comments are given to all players to provide them with a shared perception of the episode. The director is encouraged to add to these general comments in any way that will help get the players into the proper playing mood. Thank you for not telling me what that might mean. So that I support that. Yeah, fuck ketchup on steaks. The only thing that is acceptable is garlic butter.
Garlic butter.
The Mexican-American community in a small town near Southwark is buzzing over the rumored discovery of an authentic Spanish land grant. A lengthy court case over the document could seriously disrupt real estate transactions. J.R. Ewing is eager to make something of the situation. Jock is worried. Miss Ellie is even more worried than the situation seems to warrant. She has spent a lot of time on the phone and traveling into town. Sue Ellen, feeling generally unhappy, has been going into town to indulge in shopping sprees, and JR has cut her allowance. Bobby has been consolidating his position at Ewing Oil Company. Pam has gotten involved in the local media scene, writing a little and cultivating her contacts. Lucas has been running with the fast crowd on campus, and the university has begun a crackdown that may go hard on her if she is caught in the middle of it. Kay Krabs, whoever that is, seems to be playing amateur Texas Ranger regarding some strange goings-on from the farthest strange land. It is not a dull time in Dallas, I guess. I would find this quite dull to play. We now run into the second problem of this game being Dallas coded.
Yep.
In that, JR has a stake. Jock is worried. Jock has a stake. You think he's also in the company. I hate that he's called Jock. What the fuck? Then Miss Ellie is just on the phone. I know we are going to find out why. Because these are the individual stuff we are going to tell each player. And then you just go down and it's less and less important. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, Sue Ellen is going on shopping sprees and doesn't have an allowance. Like, and Pam is now writing in the media. Like, what?
Yeah, like this is not really setting a scene except for like one or two people. That's not how you do it.
Yeah. Like I said, A plot, B plot, right? But the thing about A plot, B plot is that your that works for TV. Doesn't work very well if you if half your players don't have a stake in A plot in a game about politics. Unless, and now we get to the point of this game where I think it fails, like in again Dallas terms, because Dallas is dumb. This is fucking dumb to make this a Dallas game. So these are now information only JR will know this. You have come across an old Spanish land grant, which, however dubious, can be useful in depressing the value of many oil properties, allowing you to pick up many of the properties at bargain prices. To make your plan pay off, you must put together a formidable array of items you must control by the end of the episode. A land grant, plus 5 of the following. Bribe of Justice Department official. So this is, we have to do a crime.
Yeah.
Interesting. Texas Rangers. They could come in handy for street level pressure. What do you mean?
Oh my god.
What do you mean the Texas Rangers are gonna like strong arm you on the street for JR? What do you mean out of this game?
That's shoehorned. That's very shoehorned. Well, this is Dallas. We need to have the Texas Rangers involved.
MX Devilstone. His media input could publicize the grant's authenticity. Okay, fair enough.
Yep.
Local press, they can slant articles on the grant in your favor. Also fair enough.
Yeah.
Local police. Yeah, it wasn't enough to have the Texas Rangers. Senator's press conference. I guess you control that somehow. Control this your way and you can manipulate anything. So meaning, basically, I set the agenda here for this thing. Okay, this might also be fair enough. Department of the Interior. What? It is after Alentil. I guess this is very powerful.
Yeah, and that would actually make sense too.
At the start, you will control the following: the land grant face down, and Ewing Oil Company face up. So you have a face down controlled card on your side, which is also something that can happen. Okay. So Alan, you have run up a string of bad debts during your current shopping binge, and unless you can clean them up, you're going to be in big problems with JR and the rest of the family. You can clear up the problem if you have controlled 3 of the following by the end of the episode. The local press. What? To keep your reputation of the papers. Oh, okay. The local police. Protect you from slanderous assaults. What the fuck is happening? First Republic bank shares. They have all the local bank credit cards. Yeah, but so you don't have money to control, like you buy to pay off the clothing debts, but you can't control the bank. What?
Wow. See, like again, this would like okay. If we remove all the names, but we have all of these same concepts of like local press, local
Yeah,
police,
yeah.
First Republic Bank shares. What does this feel like? It feels like Vampire the Masquerade, but there's no vampires, so it's much more boring.
Exactly. And also, like, please tell me, like, it was already like a stretch and a half that JR needs the police to with his land grant scheme. But why would she fucking need the police? It only makes sense in a PvP based game.
It doesn't.
Like,
That's correct.
I played Vampire the Masquerade with some people at work for the first time. Oh, nice, Mega
Nice.
I'm done TTR, but she's neat. Man, Vampire is a fun time for sure.
It really is. 5th edition, like you can really get new people to play it very easily.
Yeah.
Like it's so basic, so easy, it flows so nicely.
Well, hello. No worries if you're just hanging out. This is a show where mostly Drake and I talk. So let's go through these other people, like Jock Ewing. You have heard these land grant stories and are concerned about their potential effect on the Ewing Oil Company properties. To protect Ewing Oil Company, you must control 4 of the following by the end of the episode. I like this conflict. Again, this is the conflict basically in the show.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is using the land grant while this guy doesn't know for some reason and is therefore like opposed to the land grant, and they're going to get in each other's way a lot. So you can can control Ewing Company. You can grab it from JR in a power play. That is very fair enough. I think that's cool, actually. Texas Rangers and physical and local police again. Like, what do you mean they have physical and political? Like, it doesn't fucking make sense.
It really doesn't.
Why the police or Texas Rangers, which are just more police, would help you with a land grant situation. All trade association I can see, and then there's just people. There's a lawyer, and local press is kind of always fair enough.
Yeah.
You control nothing at the start, okay. Ellie. Now Ellie, I'm gonna just TL the others. Ellie basically has a completely different plot, which is like, oh, years ago I was like friendly with a lawyer, and now they are a politician, and they are gonna like stuff's gonna come out about like our thing when nothing happened. But it's gonna look really bad. And there's like these letters. You control, so by the end of the episode, you must control the letters. Plus the fucking FBI.
Yes.
They have real inside cloud. The Texas Rangers. Fucking hell. Not the local police though, because they are like it's in another state. So yeah. Local press, secret informer. And the dude, you control nothing. Bobby needs... What does Bobby need? Whatever the fuck. I don't want to go through all these, but you see the point. Like, there's limited things, and they all need a bunch of them. And so if everyone wants the Texas Rangers, because literally everyone, apparently, no, okay, not quite literally, but almost everyone wants the Texas Rangers on their fucking side.
A description for Cliff Barnes: your sense of social justice rises with the news of the Spanish land grant. You're determined to see that the long oppressed Mexican Americans have their due. Like, I'm surprised that this isn't something that was published in 1980, but at the same time, I'm like, again, this is like doing vampires, but boring because there's no vampires. Because that's like an Anarch arc. Right there.
It is. I love also that the FBI is in this. I guess, yes, you control them with big air quotes in the sense that they are like on your side for the investigation they are having, right? Like,
yes.
It's... Yeah, I think this guy's like the antagonist of this episode. And the Ray Crab, something illegal is happening in South Rock Far Range. It's moving something they should not be moving. This is too interesting. Are you like a... Who are you? This is too interesting a venture to pass up, but to come out of it with glory, you or Lucy or Jock must... Oh, Ray is just like a wild card. He can help Lucy and Jock as well, okay? I like that. That's good.
I like the idea of this is the guy who shows up at dinner. Oh, yeah, I'm in town today.
Yeah, like this freeform stuff is really good, and giving people like the idea that you might want to influence like this. Like I hate that there's this Texas Rangers. Like it should be like a local Texas Ranger of import in some way,
Yeah.
And
That's just the organization, but a
that's
dude.
how you'd run it probably at the table, or I would at least if I had to run it, because then this is just Commissioner Gordon from the Texas Rangers.
Oh yeah, good point.
Always talking about this weird big light they have on the top of the thing, and I don't know what, but yeah, you can now you can see where we're coming from. So some of these characters start very powerful, some don't, but they if they don't, they tend to need less stuff.
Yeah,
and
that rando character is the last asset that you could possibly have is just a drinking buddy. Which I like that. I like that more than I have the immeasurable power of the FBI.
Yep. And also, here's the thing. While Ray Krabs knows that Lucy or Jock can just have the condition you also win, you can tell Lucy and Jock you're on their side. They don't have to believe you. Like you have to persuade them during negotiation that this is actually a thing. That your goals actually don't conflict, because of
really like that.
Because obviously you could just lie about that, as any of the other players. Be like, yeah, sure, we can help each other. And then at the 11th hour, just take their stuff because they don't expect it.
Yep. And in a game like this, you could be honestly saying, well, no, it doesn't matter if the local press is on my side or yours. It helps us both. But you're really trying to keep it out of the hands of somebody else who wants the local press.
Exactly. Like it can be very true. Like for example, JR needs +5. So the land grant you have to start, and you have the company. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7 things. And you have to have 5 of those things and the land grant as well. So you can see how that's not easy, especially since you don't start with a second character.
Yeah. Yep. And you gotta, and realistically, you would have to get control of multiple minor characters very early on as JR in order to win. You'd really have to.
Yep.
Whereas the other characters like Sue Ellen, just control 3. You can control 3 of those. It's not really a big deal.
Yep.
You already have one of them because it says at the start you control the following Esteban Cruz. Yep. So you just have to keep Esteban Cruz.
I assume the company is very powerful, maybe.
Yeah. They have the power cards in the back. Let me see. What is the power of that company? Where is it? Ewing Oil. It doesn't have a special, and it can't seduce anybody, and it can't be seduced, but its persuasion is really high. So that makes sense.
Yeah, it basically probably pay off people. So, and then we have items, which are stuff that can happen during a scene. So, item 1, Jock has a bad case of indigestion, which appears at the moment to be a heart attack. Jock is not in the next scene and loses control of all but 2 characters. In the context of this, probably means the characters vacate him because he looked weak / didn't seems to be out of it when he isn't. This should be in scene 4. The important thing is you don't have to do any of these, but you can and should. If stuff, if Jock is winning too easily, this happens in scene 4, and then you give the other players a chance to maybe catch up, which is kind of shit.
Sorry.
Oh,
that how the scene structure works. How it says whatever you have left you haven't introduced yet, you better introduce it now. That's directions for the director.
Yep.
I like that stuff.
We're going to that soon. Yeah. Then automobile accident should be either JR, Bobby, or Jock. Director's choice. The victim is out for the scene. I like that you can probably just have Jock completely out of the game.
Yeah. It's a car accident. He has a heart attack. Jeez, having a bad day, are you, Jock?
Yeah. Sue Ellen's reckless spending pays off. She hits the Irish sweepstakes, increasing the persuasion by 4 for the rest of the episode. Scene 3 announcement. Like, yeah, like, this is just stuff that spices up the game a little. Anonymous letter detailed that what GER is up to, scene 2 or 3, investigation value 14. So this just gets put in, and the DM, I guess, I guess it just gets added. And these letters, remember, copies of these may be made. Whoever knows about them can be coerced to keep quiet. In 3, investigation value 15. Bribe or Justice Department official. If Cliff obtains news of this, he can begin criminal proceedings against JR. Yeah, we saw JR has to do that shit. But investigation is also 17. That's pretty high. Internal dissension at the Mafvu, whatever the fuck that is, which immediately becomes uncontrolled if it's not already. Ooh.
Okay. I like stuff like that. Like, yeah. I've held on to Mafu this whole time. oh, shit. They're out of control now.
Yep. So now we get to the scenes, which you are supposed. This is like what's happening. The rumor about the land grants are getting particularly loud from the Mexican American community. Establishment starts to take notice, especially after Cliff Barnes, the attorney of MAFWU, begins legal proceedings for the purpose of using the land grant. He now has a copy to recover a third of the real estate in the area of his clients. New characters: Kaye Rupscorn, local government, Texas Rangers. Oh, they come in. So basically, interestingly enough, wait, did they? Cliff Barnes has a copy of the land grant. Oh, so they just give it to him immediately upon the first scene. As he didn't start with it. That's kind of a useless distinction, but okay. Cliff Barnes' suit takes a turn for the worse as he is unable to produce the original copy of the grant. Things now take a turn for the mysterious as some hanky-panky becomes apparent. The smell of a rat is in the air. The director should slip each player a little secret clue. It needs not be the truth, but it should be something interesting. See, I like that.
I like that too.
This game, the problem again, this game came out in 1980, and if you present this to someone who hasn't done these games before, they're just not going to know what to do.
No, they really aren't.
But yeah, so new character, secret informant, face down. Senior press conference, face down. Bribe of Justice Department official, face down. So in scene 4 it comes in, and scene 2 it comes in scene 4. Oh no, it comes in scene 2. Okay, no, fine, same thing. More mystery as the plot thickens. The director should be looking for ways to prevent any of the players from getting a lock on a victory. An appropriate plot device planted in the right place should do the trick. Yet again, if I'm a veteran DM, sure.
Yeah. Like, let's see here. The Texas Rangers are there from the start. Like, you could have the cops show up and investigate somebody who's been doing something criminally just out of the blue.
New characters, whatever is left, director's option. Scene 4, nothing should be left. Whatever the director has left should be put into the game. Scene 5, should be the end of the episode. Remember to allow one more negotiation phase before the end of the game. Yeah. And then we just see who is in this. And I think who has to control it? Not sure what this means. Yeah. Who has to control it to win? Like, and here you can see pretty clearly, local press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people out of 9 want to control that. Then they have 2 more of these, which I'm not going to go over in this detail. I'm just going to scroll past.
Yep.
But they're
very similar.
It's the same thing. And then we have the DM guide. Read this first. If you have not yet read the rules of play, refer to that booklet and read through the rules until you have a grasp of how the game works. Then return to the script writer's guide, page 16, and work your way through the sample scene. Again, we're supposed to read that, but I'm not gonna. Understanding the rules, modifying the script, blah, blah, blah. So here it tells you how to run to an extent, but I can tell you for free, folks, that it is not enough.
Nah, this plainly isn't.
Like it is, let's count the pages. Like director's notes, 1 page, 2 page. It's literally 2 pages of telling you how to run this game. Which is a freeform lab. That's super hard to run for 9 people. It's supposed to be played with 9 players.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have to, like, the negotiation phase isn't really something you have to worry about too much. This isn't something you can just like wing so easily.
No, like it's a big ask, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, especially today, but even back then. Hey, are all 9 of you free on Saturday? On Saturday, do you want to go play Dallas? No, I want to go slay kobolds. Thanks.
Yeah. The game does tell you what you can do if there's not enough players, which is A, you just leave some out, but make sure that there's opposing goats still. B, some players play more than 1 character, which seems like a nightmare. Like that option is the worst one. Like, no.
Yeah, that. I've had people play multiple characters for games in the past, like when it was just like 2 people in a DM. I don't want to do that anymore.
No, I don't even mean like no. I'm not like. While I would agree that it's not great to like play 2 characters or more at the same time, in this, PvP based lab game, you know. No,
you're interacting less with the DM and more with the other players in this kind of game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it would be like the game doesn't expect you to separate the knowledge there. I think it's not enough of a lab because it didn't know what they had, what they wrote, to make this properly a lab. It is more really a game, like a game without anything but cards and 2 dice. Which is really what's Bonds. It's more like a board game almost.
Yep. Battlestar Galactica game by the same people who made Twilight Imperium. Very, very similar. We each have our objectives. Commander Adama needs to do this to save the world and save the ship and blah blah blah. There are other games that are very similar to that. I know they did like a drama game or 2. There was a Buffy the Vampire Slayer game that had similar setups to this. You know, it's very common in board games to see this kind of thing, actually.
And those games are mostly all newer than this. So technically, this game inspired all of them. No, not really.
Technically did. Yep.
I don't think it did because no one read this at the time.
Exactly.
Like,
nobody did.
I think there's like 10,000 copies of this in the world.
Yep.
Or 20,000, and most of them are now destroyed or something. Like.
Yep.
So, then you can like how to write your own game scripts. Like again, it shouldn't be that hard, right?
Yeah. Like
we just saw what a game script entails in this game if you write it as intended. Yeah. It tells you like you have to have opposing goals and you have to have an idea of what like each player like what like a victory path might be for them. And then you have to throw like rocks in there to make sure it's not too easy.
Exactly.
And now, it's one thing I really like.
I do like this.
Here's a big list of 2 pages of just little plot things. We have 70 plot devices. It's really random. An item of women's clothing stuffed in a glove compartment can be used as blackmail. Like, yeah, really sure.
Yep.
What do you find in there? I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
An anonymous letter, there can be a means of transmitting real or false information. Yeah, anonymous letter, anonymous phone call, same thing. Like alcoholic depression causes player to be absent the scene. Not great, but okay. A phone call from the senator in Washington. Use this to set a scene. Can also stop a coercion or investigation. Yeah, imagine the senator from Washington calls you and says, stop looking into this. Therapy for neurosis can cause the player to abstinence. Like, yeah, this is nice for, like, we're looking through if you're out of ideas in a moment. This is the only bit of help you get as a DM to run this.
And
and it's not enough.
it really isn't. Like, it should be. They could have cut out one page of something and put in another
Yeah.
page of that, because that's the kind of thing that you need the most for a game like this. Because this is a game where you are going to have to wing it regularly. You are going to have JR kicking the shit out of everybody because they won all their roles and so on. Because it's JR, it's fucking JR. So you are going to want to have to slip in a credit card billing from some part of the country the player was not supposed to have been at the time. You know, you're gonna have to slip that in. Where were you, JR? You know,
Yes.
and you can't keep using the same one over and over again. You need to have at least another page, maybe 2 more pages of stuff like
Yep.
this, because
Yep. Yep.
this is the meat of your game.
Yep. To be fair, this is also meant as inspiration, but it's like, see, this is 60 pages long. Like,
Yeah.
you knew this was important enough to put it on 2 of those pages. That is more than 260s. It's 130. That's like a third of your book. Not a third. A 30th of your book is, well, math is hard, is this. So, yeah, whatever.
Yep.
And then we come to why I'm hung up about this is we come now to the character biographies. Like, literally 3 pages on all the characters in this. Like, who fucking cares? Either you already know who the fuck is in Dallas, or you're not going to buy this game.
Yep.
There's literally no one who doesn't know Dallas who goes to the store and sees this and thinks, "Oh yeah, that's a show I don't like. Let's buy the game." And anyway, and then background. What is Dallas? Dallas is in Texas, by the way. This is the most puzzling one to me. like why? That's like 3 pages, and then a little bit more about fucking Dallas and Texas.
All things.
Like,
Dallas.
imagine buying this book and not knowing what the fuck Texas is, and that Dallas is the capital of it. Well, it's actually not, right? Dallas is another one. Whatever. Fuck it. If you know what this show, then you don't need this info. And if you don't know the show, then you haven't bought this game. Texas is on the world where it's on the dry land.
Yes.
Yes.
On the rare dry land that exists on Earth.
Yeah. And now we see here the sample scene, which we were supposed to read first. And since it's only just one, like, basically it tells you we are setting the scene. We are seeing this, like, JR begins by coming to an agreement with Jock. They both need the local police. It's currently controlled by Cliff. JR and Jock agree that whichever of them has his turn first in the conflict phase will affect Cliff to grab the police. Okay. Next, JR turns to Sue Ellen. The 2 of them had already agreed that JR would hold on to Kaye Robscorn for Sue Ellen. She needs Kaye for victory conditions and turn over control at the end of the game, which you can just do. You can just give up stuff. In return, Sue Ellen is expected to seduce Cliff Barnes into giving her the local police. So funny. This is so funny. It's the local police. Like, I haven't seen enough of this show to know if this is normal or not. If this is how the show is, but it's just funny to me. Like, oh yeah, hey Cliff, wanna fuck? Yeah, sure, here's the police. Like, I can't stop thinking of it like that. And then, yeah, some people do, like, negotiations about stuff they want or need. And then in the conflict phase, we get some dice stuff, like where they actually do things. The director calls an end to negotiation and declares that the order of play for conflict phase will be... So, initiative is just decided by the DM. Which is... Sure.
Yeah.
Actually, why not?
Why not? Because, like, once again, goes back to the whole, oh no, JR's kicking everybody's ass. I'm going to let everybody else go first now.
Yeah.
Or make JR go first if it's a situation where then everybody can react to what JR is doing.
And then I think what happens is like everyone goes, and then if someone has a second character, they go second again.
Mhm.
Like if
Yep.
Ellie has two, Ellie goes, then Sue and blah 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 goes, and then Ellie goes again at the end.
Mhm.
Until no one has a character they can do stuff with anymore.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh yeah. Also, protecting characters. Right. We glossed over that. I didn't
Yeah.
mention that. But if someone does something to one of your guys or to one of your things, you can spend your power points to protect. And that also counts as an action.
Yeah.
So basically your defenses make it so you cannot attack as often. And in this case, in this example here, GER just used all his points to defend. So he can't act offensively anymore because he was like back here. That's a double-edged sword, kinda. You can say, but he didn't proceed to his goals. True. But also, if he had been first, he could have attacked someone or done something to get something. And then someone else could have gotten stuff from him later because he doesn't have a defense move anymore. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I say it's a mini lab, because not a big lab. If someone is affecting someone, you can't go to the other player who controls them and ask them if they want to spend power for that. It's not how it works. So it would kind of have to be like prearranged. This is where it's more of a game, because this protection thing doesn't really make sense in the context of lapping. Like you would have to really ignite that by being preemptively bribing the police with a new car or whatever the fuck.
Yep. Situations like this that have come up in LARP that I've seen, usually it winds up being that somebody throws up the "I need a storyteller" hand signal. I don't remember if it was a flashcard or something else. Everybody carried cards at one point. And then the storyteller was responsible for ferrying information back and forth so that people wouldn't stop their scenes.
Oh yeah, no, sure. But my point is, you wouldn't outright be like, your character like knows now that the constable is being bribed by someone else, so you want to bribe them back, for example. That's what I mean.
Yep. Exactly.
Like you can, what I think would work here is being like, okay, please put your things in an order of importance and tell me how many points you would spend to defend them. And then that happens, and then you get told, yeah, you spent 3 points on doing this or that because someone tried to bribe them. So you only have this many left for the rest of it.
Yeah.
And then you could, of course, put more points in. So now you have to decide if maybe you reallocate them somehow or whatever. But then those 3 points would also stay for the rest of the game, wouldn't you? Be a one-off. But yeah, this is where you get into the weeds of lab running, which is really a nightmare. And the most I've ever done is like a 3 game master role-playing session, which was also a nightmare, but it was fun. So anyone who runs the lab is my deep respect. I've only ever played in labs. So I know how they work, blah, 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 but I don't really want to ever have to run one.
Yeah. I don't either.
And now we have stats here. Our main characters. And we can see here that I take umbrage with a seduction stat of 20 for GER.
Yeah.
Like, that's the guy with the cowboy hat. No. But then, like, Sue Ellen is 27, so we know what's up there.
Yep.
The power stats and stuff, like, GER is really OP.
Yeah, across the board.
He is also like the guy who usually has the most opposition against him in these stories, because he is supposed to be like the big dog.
Yep, and big dog, and like, oh god, when we looked at that first scenario, I was like, how does he win? Holy shit! Like, will he even have enough actions to be able to
Yeah.
do this?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Like, and then Jock, kind of JR Light.
mhm.
I don't understand +1 resist or affect child wife. Oh, because his wife is Pamela, and they have a child, I guess, and so they have here's +1 against those two specific. Okay, makes sense now. And +2 against his dad,
Yeah.
and then resist affect child husband, +1 grandchildren. 20 versus JR, seduction resist only. Sue Ellen.
Yep.
Why would
Mhm.
you that's isn't she like
Yep.
his kid or grandkid or something?
No, I think daughter-in-law,
What?
Sue Ellen Ewing. Ellen is her maiden name.
Oh, okay. So
Wait, no, Shepherd is her maiden name. I'm sorry. They
Sue
put the
Ellen
maiden name in
Shepherd.
parentheses.
Oh,
Uh,
so wait. So the dad of your husband can seduce you?
yeah.
You
Yeah.
like I don't get it. But I think they did something against where it couldn't be family, right?
Yeah. And like they
What?
didn't define what they meant by family. They
Yeah.
didn't say if it was blood relative or it just gets very very dirty very quickly.
I like that Ray, the guy who just likes to have a good time, is also really bad at resisting this stuff. It's kind of funny.
Yes, I love
And
it.
he's most like a muscle bound like dude who can just coerce people. It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um
Because he's the best at coercion in the whole game.
yeah.
So it's like I like him. I like him.
And then we have again this is just the same stuff we just talked about again for some reason. I don't ask me.
It's you see the dotted line there. It's just so they can.
Oh, it's like a rules thing that you can cut
Yeah.
out. Okay. Then we have JR. Then we have the stats again, which yeah, okay. They have more rules explanation,
Yeah.
rules outlines again, and then you have
Yeah.
the each character.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
Basically, on one
sorry.
side you have the character, the other side you have the rules outline, and you just hand it out to everybody.
Oh god damn. They all actually put each of their stats here, so you can just look at it and know your math.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
I see. Oh
Yeah.
no.
They thought in advance about the one thing that would be annoying during play, and then they
Yeah.
decided, oh, maybe we should just give that information to everybody at the start.
That is actually pretty. That is good, but also.
Yeah. It does. It doesn't work for an actual game.
Yeah. And then, yeah, and so on and so forth. These are just 2 pages for character sheets for each of the Nick 9 with a quick reference for the rules.
Yep.
Because this is the engineer's way of telling you how to play the game.
Yep, it is. I'm very glad that I said that right at the beginning because as you read this further and further and further, you go, yep, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm. And then so on. And then we come to the minor characters eventually. Here they are.
Yep. And some of them have specials. Some of them don't. Actually, most of them don't.
Yeah.
But
and it's all the same stuff. It's yeah, okay. I mean, the thing is also badly copied, but whatever. Who cares? No one's gonna print it out. I like that there's new cards for you to use, a limited amount.
Yep.
That's
so
fine.
you can do more. Yep.
And you have like the organization cards, which are different color. I like that the local press is power 6. And one of the most fun things is FBI power 3 in Texas, 7 in US. It just jumped at me when I first read it. I was like, lol. Like the FBI is pretty formidable, but also pretty hard to get on your side because it's a 24 defense. +4 the players attempts to resist coercion. If you have the FBI on your side, it makes sense.
I like that aspect of this where okay, I have this person who's an asset, so now I get a +2 to whatever.
Yeah.
These are basically your magic items, everyone.
Yeah, these are the magic items.
It's
Cowboy
not the
Redskins
FBI.
football tickets, Senators Conference. Like again, like yeah, this is all of it. This is the book. We are done. But here's again, like as we have been saying, if this book hadn't tied itself to the anchor that is Dallas, the television, like Dallas, the thing, this rule set is workable for a game.
Yeah.
Like I don't. There's some niggles I have with it in the way they present how you are supposed to have the conflict, because I think it would work better to have the conflicts more tied to each other, but in a way that makes narrative cohesive sense, so that you can have different, like, it doesn't, again, I need to control the police because I have a land grant. It's a bit of a stretch for me, right?
Yeah, it is.
And like if this was almost like done, I don't know, it's hard to explain what how I would do it better in some cases here, or not really better, like more like how to make it more workable. It's mostly down to making the things you can control more realistic, right? Like,
yeah, that's what it would come down to. Like, I am going to control the local branch of the FBI. You don't control the entire FBI. And in controlling the local branch, it's because you talk to Special Agent Chutzpah or whatever,
right.
you know?
So, yeah, right. That's a good point, because I would say, yeah, in this adventure, like this agent is inactive because the land grant is of interest to the FBI, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then you can affect that FBI agent and then maybe do stuff. So the organizations that they give you aren't very interesting or very cool. Almost.
Yeah, they're not compelling. Yeah.
And I feel like this is like a thing. Like if we put this in fantasy terms, let's just say, I am the king and queen at the same time, and I control the guards, the palace guard. It doesn't really make sense that some other guy can control the palace guard.
No.
There needs to be pretty special shit happening for me to lose control of the palace guard. So I think a concept they could have used is like cards you can't really lose, almost.
Yeah. And like, yeah, I mean, like that's pretty much what it would come down to. And then losing it might require multiple characters working in tandem, you know, situations like that. Also, there's no concept here of jointly owning an asset.
Exactly. Because that,
which
I think,
would be strong.
Yeah, that would. I mean, there is the concept of I don't need this; I can hold on to it for you. But everyone's ultimately like, there's a very either you have it or you don't attitude in there. I think what would have been good is like, yeah, if it's like this Palace Guard example, let's stay there. If they had been like, to control the Palace Guard, 3 other players must like pool their efforts.
Yeah.
And then they can wrest control from the Palace Guard, and for the rest of the scene, they will control it instead of the king, who cannot attempt to get them back.
Yep.
For example, just as an example.
Okay, so the thing you're specifically talking about, it did come up in the Game of Thrones forum roleplay that I did that winds up feeling similar to this. And the way it worked out was you had to have something very similar to what you just said, almost like equivalent of 3 great houses going, hey, we got an issue with the king. But in this situation, it was you had to have some sort of legal precedent. And establishing legal precedent was really hard to do. And whenever you did have that, though, well, that king was going to be fucking toast because the King's Guard were going to go full Jaime Lannister on them. So your point is perfect. You just like being able to have a system where you need more weight in order to do this. Having any kind of power level in that'd be good. Again, like you said, being married to Dallas is its biggest problem because, like, a generic form of this that would be perfect. Would be just calling a tabletop role playing game telenovelas,
Yeah.
and then you could make characters that are just the archetypes in telenovelas. Like this is the hot widow,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and you just go from there. Like it'd be
Yeah, but
perfect. They
here's
didn't
the
do that.
thing though. It's 1980. That
Yeah.
would have gotten even worse for them because
Mm-hmm.
no one would have bought that anyway. So they knew not to do that, or they didn't
Yep.
consider it. But they also didn't know that this would just be like a lead pigeon.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yep.
Like what the heck? And for haircut, you missed us talking about the roots of this. This is actually a good lab system, like mini lab system.
Yeah.
Like not great, but it's playable and fine.
Yeah. Workable. Yeah.
And it just has like big problems because of because it's fucking Dallas. You have news for us for us on that? Is there a generic telenovela game now?
I hope there is.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm into that thought.
And again, here's the other thing. Like for a game that purports to be about Dallas,
yep.
The last thing I needed again was an explanation what the fuck Texas is. I needed an explanation as to how do I get in the head of GER? Like how do I be this guy? Like what character I'm actually fucking playing? And it doesn't tell me that. And if I haven't,
no, it really doesn't.
But no, Texas. Okay, my argument is invalid, I guess. Pasión de la Pasiones. Okay, is that a thing? Really cool, nice.
All right. Well,
but yeah, like that can be made today, because today everyone knows what a role playing game is, and they have like the ability to like look at streams of stuff and understand what you do in them. But in 1980, like the most you know is that a few years later, one of the first big roles that Tom Hanks will ever play is like a guy going insane playing D&D.
Oh yes.
Starting the demon scares about that game, and then like, I mean, to be fair, then they would have even less chance to publish this, but they probably had already done so, and it was already a failure. Like. And then it needed like 20 pages of extra stuff that tells you in detail how to do the local presses under Sue Ellen's control now in a way that makes sense and isn't just the DM telling you, yes, your seduction attempt succeeded. Here is the local press now. Because that's what would happen if you don't know how to play this game. Like if you don't know what a role-playing game is and you get presented with, yeah, you're supposed to like amongst each other, like you are supposed to like talk what you want to do, so do that. And then the players who don't know how to play either because they're Dallas fans and not RPG fans would be like, I need local police. Do you also need local police? Oh, you do? Shit. What do you not need? Okay, I don't need the Ewing company. I don't know what's on the table for now. Like I don't need the Texas Rangers for some reason because I'm Sue Ellen. Oh, cool! I need the Texas Rangers though. Then you can have the police. Okay, cool. We have an agreement. That's what would happen because they don't know. And even if someone puts on a cowboy hat to be like JR, they wouldn't really be in character. And then in the next phase, just like I'm rolling the dice now. Oh, I don't get to go first. Who gets to go first? Oh, I see. Okay. And then why did he go first? Oh, you decided that. Why? Do you mean it's supposed to be like close? But I want to win. Isn't this a game where I win? It tells me I have to get victory points. Like it does. That's why it falls apart so hard.
Yeah, it falls apart very hard in that regard. And to piggyback onto what Sunderd's saying here about Pasión de las Pasiones, yes, that is powered by the Apocalypse game. I did say at one point when Nur and I were discussing this last night, this feels like a lot of the elements here are proto powered by the Apocalypse thoughts, especially with how the game is structured. With, all right, do this, the director sets scene, okay, now everybody does a move.
Yeah.
basically, which is what Powered by the Apocalypse does. And honestly, if you took this and you just use the stat system from Powered by the Apocalypse, what dice are you rolling once again? 2d6, because that's what you're rolling Powered by the Apocalypse, baby. So
Yes. Dallas role-playing game, directly inspired
yes.
the apocalypse thing. Like, it makes total sense if you think about it.
If you
Like,
think about it, like all these things go back to something, and it's just like, oh god, this
yeah,
was a 2d6 game. Oh shit.
yeah. Because again, my fear here would be that stuff just goes insane because the PvP aspect of it, I think, would ruin the fun for people.
It would very quickly
Like,
because it exclusively focuses on that,
yeah,
and the director is just an arbiter.
yeah.
Like
Because
they're not even much of a game master, honestly.
I mean, they are supposed to like keep it close, and they're supposed to like throw some wrenches in the works. But the DM is also left completely alone with how they are supposed to run it.
Yep.
And that's not acceptable. Like in a like, this is the time of antagonistic D&D even,
Yeah, it is.
where the DM is supposed to try to kill you because they are still wargaming in their brains.
Yep.
And that's like, it makes sense why this stuff isn't here, but it also means this product, like as a product, completely fails. It is just still, the rules just are simple and work. That's the thing that like really surprised me about it. In the end, like, I thought when I had Dallas role playing game, that's a train wreck and a half for sure. And I'm only being one train wreck because actually it's playable, but
Yeah.
not how it's presented. Just the rules work.
Yeah,
Like,
the rules do work.
Someone made good rules and then failed to write a book around it.
Yeah. That's a really good way to put it, honestly. Because like the reason why this is a really good bookend for the one we did last time, The Expanse. The Expanse is how you do a really good game based on a TV show, where the rules, they're generic rules, sure, but you can build a book around that very easily.
Yeah.
In this case, once again, we have actually pretty decent central rules. They're, I don't know, 7 or an 8. And the problem is the book around it. So
Exactly. Like the only thing these rules don't have is enough like details.
yeah.
And again, what you said is super true. Like you could make this game as like the telenovela game. You could even have this game just as a generic TV show game.
Yeah, yeah.
And that might have been a fucking success.
That
Like,
would have been fun. That would have been better than Top Secret.
Yeah, for sure. And this is so much better than Top Secret. I would actually play, out of curiosity, play this one time as written. But I need to be JR.
Yeah, you'd have to be JR.
Like, and like, just really out of curiosity, how that would go. I would hate it probably because it's 10 people and like in the same space talking. And that's a bit too much over hours. But it's like, it is on the level where I'm like, is this something more than, like, do I want this? But then it's pretty clear that no, I don't. I want this system as a generic system. It would have been way better. Like, just replace everything that is about oil show with generic, here's how you play like a diplomatic, non-combat role-playing game. This might be the first one that was codified in rules. Like, if not the first one, it's among the first handful.
Yeah.
And that is like, good job. Because that's something that even today isn't really a thing enough.
No, it really isn't.
Like, even games that are, that, like, for example, Dune, that are about that stuff, eventually come to, but here's how to fight, though.
Yeah.
And in this, you just don't fight. The most you do is do the worst part of the rules, which is like putting people in jail and putting them out of the game. Because that one is that's again, you can't just be like, nah, Jim, you're out now. Like you tried to do a crime. I found out about it. I rolled 2 6s, so now you can't play anymore. That is not okay.
Yeah, it's not okay.
But yeah, you don't like. You could just not play with those rules, I guess, or whatever. Like there's much to be done here.
Or just do what they suggested. The one sentence about, well, you could be in appeals for years.
Yeah.
That works.
No, but but no. But you misunderstood that. That was meant as but the next game you can still be GR. Not as you can play GR now.
Oh,
the other person got victory points. It just means GR is out of the game forever. But the thing specifically says you lose all your stuff and you can't play anymore for this game. Or for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And that's dumb.
That's bad, yeah.
Oh,
it's very bad.
I just noticed there's like someone stapled this.
Yeah, someone stapled this.
Oh, that explains why there are holes here.
Oh,
man.
Part of the reason why I was chuckling in the background is that I tracked down the playbooks for that Pasión de las Pasiones game.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, like, this is... Welcome to Dallas, 33 years in the future.
Nice.
Yeah. Actually, excuse me, 43 years. God, math. Holy shit. But yeah, like, just if you... this would have been so much better as like, want to play a TV show?
Yeah, like, they should have really, really, really taken that plunge and then maybe be like, as an example, some of this book will be styled after like TV show dramas. Because most of the stuff like in the plot devices, for example, works 1-to-1 for that.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of these work 1-to-1 for, okay, I want to do an A-team show, but we don't really fight much. Instead, we're like international cool diplomats. A lot of that stuff worked 1-to-1 for that too. Oh shit, I'm in Somalia negotiating this, and suddenly my credit card debt has come back to haunt me. Ah!
Yep. Texas. Like fucking 1836 to 8. Why would anyone fucking care? Yes, Texas has its own navy. Good job. Yes, you were independent for a few years. Great. No one needs this info. It's so useless.
Like, it is the old thing of, if you're from Texas, of course you would know this, but for the purposes of a role-playing game, no, I don't care.
Yeah, this is squarely and directly the same energy as like you open the book of your game that you are supposed to like play now, and there's 20 pages of history. And I'm sorry, that is, and now we are coming to the mention. That is like a sin Shadowrun always does as well, where it sets the scene for 50, 60, 70 pages of history and everything that's going on. In my opinion, Shadowrun is clearly a book that's 6 times as big, but you need to abbreviate that and get people playing, and then they can worry about the setting, because it doesn't work that you buy a role-playing game because you like the setting so much, but you don't know anything about it already if you buy it. Like, there's no way that you're like, oh, I don't know anything about this game or what's going on in it, but once I read their 20-page history about like weird kings that did stuff 2,000 years ago that won't matter for what I'm doing in the game, I'm going to be so hooked that I want to play it now. No, you won't.
No, you won't. I will refer to one of my favorite tabletop game authors, Keith Baker. He, on his blog, has outright refused to say a lot of things that happened in the past of the setting, because he only wants to establish things that happened in the past if it informs the present. If we can use it right now, this second. Because if it was interesting in the past but it's not interesting now, then it's worthless.
Yep.
Absolutely worthless to a tabletop game.
And by that, like, to be clear, by that we don't mean don't tell us what the setting is.
Yeah.
But tell us by all means. Yeah, it's a future where there's magic and elves and they're cyberpunk. They have like can replace their limbs, and there's like basically it's. Have you seen cyberpunk? Have you seen like the cyberpunk anime? It's basically like that, but there's also magic. Like that the Cliff Notes version for your play. And then, if players are actually interested, there can be this other book that's called The Setting Bible.
Yeah.
Then you put all that stuff that all those details, they go in there. And then, for sure, a good DM can take your Setting Bible and make a really cool adventure about like a thing that happened 20 years ago that has repercussions now.
Yep.
Absolutely. That's what that stuff is great for. Like it's not that you should never write it. It's just that for a 60-page book, this is so completely inexcusable. I can't even.
Yep.
And
there's so many examples of where you can do that right, and then there's so many ways you can do it wrong. Hell, I'll even give the Symbieta brothers credit, because I think it was the very first edition of Rifts. They have like 10 pages, maybe 15 at most, of, okay, this is what happened, but this is how it informs how things are now. And then, if you want to know more, you can read the stuff at the way back of the book.
Yep.
But here's our introduction.
Yeah, and not hot take at all. The Rifts is so fucking crazy that you need those 15 pages.
You do.
Like, yeah, but again, this is fucking Dallas. Either you know what it is, or you don't. Or you will not find out in this book.
Yep. Exactly.
Then
that's why we didn't go hard on the backstory of The Expanse when we were reviewing that one, because it's like, go watch the show.
Yeah, well,
watch the show.
Watch the show, read the books, do both, whatever. Like, yeah,
eat the pizza, whatever.
And okay, I get that you don't have like enough here to make a character sheet with one page, right? But copy pasting this the rules like 8 times or 9 times, because there's 9 people. That's also kind of like, oh, we need to fill the space here. It feels like it could have been used better. And I get it. The way it's set up is, this is Sue Ellen's thing, and then on the same page on the back is all the rules.
Yeah.
So kind of good job. But at the same time, like, you could have just put this in the middle for major character, because the only distinction major character is what? Nothing.
Nothing.
You can't control them. But that's clear, because if I play JR, you can't be like, I play JR now. Because it isn't how the game works. So they didn't need the double page. Like, this should have been like a reference for maybe 2. Let's say I really want to cut them out. I need 2 of these. Because at no point will more than 2 or 3 people, with the DM that's supposed to know the rules, so you need 2 more, need to read this shit to understand what they have to roll for dice. So it's fine to pass around this, and then you could have had 7 pages of space to put like other info in here, which it needed
very easily.
On these fucking bones, because these bones are really cool, except for Dallas, but we have been over that a bunch now.
Yep.
But yeah, I think we have thoroughly talked about it, Drake. I don't know what else to say here. Do you have stuff to add?
I don't really have anything to add other than it's like Vampire the Masquerade, if you took away the vampires and decided to LARP it, and you get this. And no, don't do that.
As we said, it's so easy to imagine a better setting.
Yeah.
Like, no hate on people who like Dallas, but it's just not the product now.
Yeah. If this had been packaged by Green Ronin, who had the rights to write the Game of Thrones tabletop game originally, and they lost it at a certain point, if they had decided we're going to go this direction and release a game like this, everybody would have bought it. Everybody would have played it, because that's the kind of shit people really like. Like, sure, there are moments in the show where I'm like, oh yeah, Bronn was cool in that duel, but Bronn's a minor character that was being controlled by Tyrion. This fits perfectly onto that. This maps onto it perfectly. So, can do this again, but with fantasy. You can do this again today, but with telenovelas. You can do this again today, but with like the TV show Leverage, whatever. Um, the rules. I would actually go so far as say the core rules of this are 8 out of 10 because they're so simple. They just need to be written slightly better.
Yep. Again, the writing style in this means that you're left very much alone with how to run this, as I pointed out before. And that's just, as I've also pointed out before, you can't, if like a bunch of people who never played this style of game before, just tell them, do it. Do it now, though. Do it now. What do you mean you don't know what to do? Just play the game. Here's the rules. You have your own. Turn your character sheet over. Then there's the rules for you. What do you mean you don't know what to do still? You have to control the victory points.
Yeah,
like
the victory points.
It is not helpful. It's not helpful. It needed to be helpful because it's supposed to grab a new audience.
Yep.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, good idea on the rules, but the main writer of this that's not a good thing. Does any of these guys go on to do cool things?
Well, I laughed because one of the names there for our production and technical editing is Michael Moore, but I don't think that's the Michael Moore.
James F. Dunnigan. Oh, he's old. Military political analyst, defense. No, I don't think that's the right guy, huh? Is it? It is!
Oh my god, it is!
Oh, no. You're correct, by the way. He's a fucking army guy. He wrote Panzer Blitz in 1970. More than 300,000 copies. Wow. Oh, no, he was in college. He wasn't. Oh, look. Oh. Actually, he wasn't in the army. He just wrote these games because he played them.
Wow, okay.
So company, SBI, it is.
Oh my god, it's SBI, yep.
So, he's Sniper, Dallas. Between the two, he designed over 100 war games and other conflict simulators, ranging from 90s, blah, 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 war in Europe. Complete Wargaming Handbook, first edition, 1980, How to Make War. What the fuck? Contributions. The partners from the 100 years, 1999, Dunningham regularly lectures at military academic institute. Okay, he is a military guy, even though he didn't go to the military, I guess.
He's just a military political
analyst. What do you mean he isn't known for Dallas, the role-playing game?
What the hell? So, okay, from the Wikipedia for Dallas, the role-playing game, despite the popularity of the television show, the game proved to be an infamous failure, and art director Redmond Simonson later remarked that the 80,000 copies printed was about 79,999 more than anyone wanted.
Oh, no. Yeah, this is the art director. Oh, he's dead. R.I.P. Like, he didn't really have much to do in this game. But I think he did some... I mean, he worked for Avalon Hill and stuff. You did some work. Marketing Labs, this was financial SPI. Dunnings, Aust, as company manager. Advising company, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, they sold all their assets to TSR. Okay.
That checks out.
Oh yeah, because the magazine, what is it? Strategy and Tactics. That's what would eventually become the bones of what would become Dragon Magazine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are the OGs of this fucking field. To be clear. And yes, and over 100 because it's not hard to write these booklets.
No, it's not.
But we have just pointed out this is 60 pages, if that. And the rules are normally not that complex.
Really aren't. That's why I keep giving it high marks.
Yeah, and they leave it at this is like the Ardennes offensive in 1944. You can be the Germans or the Americans and allies, and here you go, play this now. This is how a tank fires a gun.
That hex map, ooh, yum.
Yeah,
that was a really good hex map. God, like that was back when I was just like obsessed with the map the map stuff that people did.
Gaslight and Steam Albion. What the
Yeah.
fuck is this?
Mhm. That's a steampunk game.
But what is it? Oh, it's literally like, I thought it was like for a for like a tabletop, but it's not for like a board game, but it's literally.
Yeah, it's a board game.
Is it a board game? Okay, whatever.
Yeah, looks like a board game.
It looks like the most complicated board game ever. Look at all these things.
Yeah, like it feels Axis and Allies like, but with like all the optional rules.
There's big there's big pentagrams everywhere. I would be concerned. See, Robert DJ Raya. Wait, did these guys do this because they all have like a... No, okay, Austin Bay doesn't. They were just jealous of J.R.R. Ewing for having a second middle initial. Board games designer. Google knows what I want to see.
Oh, it's a game called Albion Orlando Ferry. Okay.
This is in the menu of the Victory Games Roblox.
Oh, okay. It is a board game, yeah. So you play trolls and humans, you fight elves and gnomes.
Oh, okay.
It's a big fantasy war game. Okay.
Ah. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Raya apparently not really has a Wikipedia page, but he is mentioned here and there. As is the editor. Editors generally don't get top billing on stuff. Backgrounds, material, and scripts. Austin Bay. Director of licensing. Art. What art is in here? There's not a single picture past the like literally none. Isn't even like nothing. It's nothing. What art? Oh wait, I know what art. I know exactly what art. Come on, load the page. Yeah, this. They did the kerning on this really well. Though you might say that this font and stuff is actually from the TV series.
Oh my god, yes, it is.
Forgot to mention this came out in the same year as Dragon Quest. Yes, true. They did also the Dragon Quest. That is also super true, yeah. Like, they did a shit ton of games. They just didn't get enough money to continue making them.
Yeah, it's one of those situations.
Because this is also the time, like, this guy, what was his name here? Jim Dunnigan, started literally in, was a repair technician ballistic for the Sergeant Ballistic Missile. Oh, he was in the army then. He was drafted. Yeah, okay, makes sense.
He's drafted. Okay.
It's that time. But, servicing to Korea, afterwards in the Pace University. Okay, so he was an army dude after all. So he went to college after army in 1967 and started playing like these games. And then he literally made them. And if you know anything about this, like the late 60s, 70s, that is exactly when these games like were really big and came out a lot.
Yep.
Because all these guys who had been like army planning, as Drake has pointed out, they were out of the army now, but they still wanted to do their little games. And what if we included dice as randomizers instead of just saying, yeah, the artillery is gonna hit? Like, and then that's how these games were born, and then RPGs came from that in turn.
Yep. Like, okay, so me really diving hard on this. The Vietnam War, and to a lesser degree the Korean War, is mainly the Vietnam War because of the draft. There was just so much of the whole fact that there were people coming back who had the full GI Bill, who were like the first generation in their family to be able to attend university without having to worry about money at all.
Yeah.
Those who came back from World War II who were able to attend college still had to usually pay something. Like, it wasn't a completely free ride, but they were offering it as a free ride in Vietnam era. Anyway, the point is that these guys wound up having a lot of time because in Vietnam, either you were constantly on the move and losing a guy in your squad every day, or you're waiting to firebomb. And in the long periods of time between waiting to firebomb, you come up with stuff. And a lot of these guys they were already educated in some regard. A lot of them were like, I'm going to pause in the middle of college, go in for
yeah,
3 to 6 years, and then come back out because then I won't have to worry about it later. Like they just decided I'm just going to enlist. So as a result, you have like this large conglomeration of people who all were like, yeah, I still like military stuff after it came out, but I'm also an intellectual. So as a result, all this was born.
Yeah.
And there was a large number of them at Fort Bragg because Fort Bragg was like the Fort Knox of Army intelligence. So there were a lot of well-educated guys there who were bored all the time because what was happening in the rest of the world at the time? Well, according to the Army intelligence, not much. So you had a bunch of guys stationed at all these different desks, like, I don't know, India desk, who were just like, I just read 2 newspapers a day and I don't know much else.
Yeah.
So as a result, they come up with a military game.
And just like to like drive us home here, look at the games list Jim Dunnigan.
Yes.
Like, let's look at 1967 one game, 1968 one game, 1969 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games. 1970 2, 3 games. Wow. 1971 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. And then it continues like this for every year until 1980. 1980, where they were like hurting for money the most, is 9 of them. And then after a bit of time, he did like eventually he did like a few more.
Yeah.
But he doesn't feeling anymore.
I've actually heard of Men at Arms. Men at Arms, like medieval, I think. Bulge.
I know what this refers to. I actually listen. This is the thing I just came. I didn't know, but I literally gave you example earlier. This is the Ardennes Offensive, 1944. Fucking hell, he wrote that game. He wrote the game. I just came up with in my brain.
Yeah,
and probably really good too. Holy shit! Look at
it probably is. Like, I'm interested sometime in looking at all the other shit he wrote because
he called it Bulge. Fucking hell!
He called it Bulge.
It's perfect. But yeah, like this tells you a few things. Like this tells you, like, if Dallas is a fair indication of these games, like they just cranked them out quickly.
Yeah.
That's basically it, right? And then hoped one of them would hit in some way.
So,
but
another.
Sorry, you go.
Another comparison to make is that this is kind of like the era where magazines were at their peak too. Yeah. So like you had to like go. You had to crank it out. You had to. All right, let's see here. How can we get all these little wooden pieces? No, let's not do wooden pieces then. So these paper chits everywhere. Okay, cool. Let's go. They had to really crank them out in order to make any money back then because of the way it was very dog eat dog.
Yeah, so. But yeah, this is the problem with this kind of company ultimately.
Yeah.
Like if I have bought like 5 of your games, 1 a year, let's say, because I really like the setting, because I really like Kursk, for example, I don't know. Then eventually you will have given me the game I want to keep playing.
Yes, exactly.
And then I'm no longer like a customer for you. I might check out another one. Oh, I really like Kampfpanzer. That sounds great. Like whatever the fuck. But but you will not like you can't expect the next war to sell as well as World War III, even though World War III doesn't even have a fucking page. But you see what I mean? Like that's just a diminishing return if you keep cranking them out this quickly.
Yeah, and it caught up with them because that was their last hurrah, 1980. Still laughing over the name Bulge. But I also like the fact that they obviously had some balls even before Dallas, and they were willing to try new things. Like they have an Agincourt one there, which doesn't line up with the 20th century games that seem to be their specialty. And then they also have Year of the Rat there, which another one that is just like what? Well, that's a Vietnam game. See? Oh, that was during the Easter Offensive. Okay.
Battle of Bull Run is older.
That's an older one too.
CA?
And then
I don't know. Tactical naval warfare. Okay.
And then the one that keeps popping out of me, it was supposed to be a board game about that was a simulation of college students rebelling and fighting back, and that one was the name keeps popping out at me. Up Against the Wall, motherfucker.
Where's
Like literally, they named the game that 1969. It doesn't even have a page for it.
Oh, here.
It's at the bottom of the list.
There
Yeah.
isn't even a there isn't even a no link. It's just nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like they
Yeah.
were willing to publish all kinds of things, and that's very interesting. But again, like what you said, there's a diminishing return very fast.
Oh
on
man,
that.
Mech War 77 is about tanks. Where's my mech game? What the fuck?
I think this guy would have done an amazing mech game.
Oh, this guy, like, holy crap, yeah.
The Sino-Soviet War. Oh, damn. Okay.
Like, yeah, you can tell, like, for real
Oh,
though.
there we go.
Good on this guy for publishing this many games which he clearly loved. You don't do this many games if you don't love doing this shit.
Yeah.
Like, and you had a good run. You did this for 11 years. I hope you made a ton of money and were able to just do your own shit from then on out. You know?
Yeah. Because he wasn't with the company when it went down. He left. So.
I mean, whatever. I hope this guy lived well after, because a lot of people probably enjoyed these games quite a bit, and good to them. Like, he wouldn't have been in charge of doing this many games for this long if they had all been Gabo. So yeah.
Exactly. Like, well, I'm going to say something really controversial. He seems like he's the Terry Pratchett of war games then, if he released this many of them.
I mean, I would have to defer to the knowledge of people who actually play these to know. But like purely the idea, like if you in 1969 don't write a few bangers, then there's no way you continue till 1980.
Yeah, there's no way, especially then. Ooh.
Yeah, and yeah. Like, unlike many authors we come across on this show that write one game and then never write anything ever again.
Yeah.
This man, like, okay, sure, Dallas is a bit of a meme, but within all of this stuff, like, good on you for trying something new almost at this. But also, I like the color cover on this.
Yeah, the color cover looks a lot better.
Makes it a bit more bearable. Like,
but like, just. This guy, like, normally, yes, when we go look at the author of something, we go, oh, shit, this guy was an alcoholic who beat his wife. In this case, no, we're seeing just completely the reverse of what we normally wind up seeing.
I mean,
because this guy was probably in the military around the same guy as the guy who did Tales from the Floating Vagabond.
Yeah.
And that guy, he had a miserable life, it looked like. This guy, though, look at him. He'll be forever immortalized in our Dallas review, you know?
Good job. Also, way bigger channels than us have done a Dallas review.
I'm sure, yes. God, like, I don't know. Like, this winds up making me feel happy for once.
Yeah.
When we dug into the backstory. It's not like Cinnabar.
Yeah. I think it is a bit fair to say that maybe he didn't know how, after all of these games, to write one for newbies.
That's a good point.
That's why Dallas is not really helping you, like, facilitates things. Also love the idea that he just liked Dallas and wrote that shit.
You know,
I know that's not 100% the case. They like hunted for this license to just have a chance to get some money. Yeah. But hey.
There's also that, and then also like I am forming like this mythology in my brain that his wife really liked Dallas.
Yeah,
and
oh god,
you should write one of your games, but it's Dallas, honey.
No,
and then he did.
It's so probably so fucking true.
Yes, I like that, but at the same time, I'm just like, oh.
Like, this doesn't mention a wife, but that doesn't mean there hasn't got one.
Yeah, because there's so many people like this who are just like an author. I wrote 9 billion war games. They don't mention that they were married or have any kids.
Yeah, because it's probably not pertinent. I like the idea that this man is super gay as well and doesn't have a wife, though. I'll be
Maybe
real
you're
with you.
his husband. I don't
That
know.
is my headcanon. This man just lives with other wargamers in a big polycule.
Oh, there you go. Note
Anyway,
that.
I
You're
think
always Germany.
yeah. Here's your part about like history. I didn't look into this because I didn't feel it pertinent, but it's interesting actually.
Mhm.
Like, holy crap, there's so much here.
Yes, Sundered, the Chad Dallas, the Virgin Cinnabar.
Yeah. No, again, it's not Chad Dallas. I think Dallas, in terms of what they wanted to achieve, this game fails. The
Yeah, it
rules
does.
are fine, but it doesn't help you play this.
Nah.
But like, this is a blip on the radar for this guy who clearly knew his shit.
Yes, it clearly loved it.
and it still loves because he's not even dead yet. Like, holy crap! Like
Yeah.
you just get again. What did Symbieta? No, not Symbieta. What is the fucker called for Cinnabar?
Oh fuck, McCracken.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
C.S. fucking McCracken.
yeah,
Like, he wrote nothing before and after that game.
yeah.
And what he wrote is garbage, and he's a terrible person who scammed people. This man ran a company for several years, cranked out all these games, and then the company failed. Yeah, sucks, but what can you do sometimes?
Yeah, exactly.
Fiasco is the modern alternative to this. That's true. That's actually very true. Yeah.
Yeah, Fiasco. Yeah, Fiasco is. Someday we'll review that. I'm not really keen on doing it right away, but it is worth looking at.
I read it once many years ago. I've forgotten basically everything about it. So
Yeah, it's pretty much what I did too. But that's another game in this vein of where you can do good dramas with it. So.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I think with this history lesson we can conclude today's episode.
Yes.
Question becomes now, Drake, what do we do next time?
So I've got a few ideas in mind.
Ooh.
And one of them, Sundered has been talking about repeatedly in the past, and I know you would be tickled pink if we reviewed this.
Mm-hmm.
You want to take a look at Victoriana next time? Some Shadowrun steampunk.
Sundered has successfully made me hype for the reading that, so sure, let's do Victoriana.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good one because it has some good stuff. Some of the mechanics, you'll see when you read it, but it is worth it because they actually tried to do something, and I feel like they at least succeeded somewhat. So, and yeah, like I'm surprised with Dallas that it was like, rules 7, 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
why not?
Like for real. When I was like, oh yeah, Dallas, that's totally what we are going to do. It was 100,000,000% me being like, the fuck, this exists. I didn't know that. That's going to be a great episode because it's a giant meme. Let's do Dallas, and then I didn't know what it was, and then just downloaded the PDF.
Yeah,
and there we were, and then I read it. It was like, actually, this doesn't have legs, but there's different kind of legs.
Yeah. Different kind of legs. That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
And that's why Victoriana is a good one for next time, because it's a game that didn't really take off, doesn't have a huge, massive fan base, but they wrote a bunch of books for it.
Yeah.
It is what it is, It's self-consistent.
Yeah.
I guess that's one thing that we've been really focusing on this year is reviewing games that have actually pretty self-consistent settings. Like Dallas is Dallas, The Expanse is The Expanse.
True. So far, that's
true. Golden Sky Stories, like you get what you get. It's on the tin, you know.
Very true. But yeah, I think with that we are about done. Do you have anything to announce for this week still, or do you do anything? I don't know.
I don't think I'm doing anything special. I know Sundered wanted to finish the other paths for Chinatown Detective Agency.
Yes, we're doing that. If not next week, then the week after. I'm next week only have 3 work days, so that's helping. Okay. Yeah, we are doing Chinatown. We're finishing it off sometime. But yeah, for this week, this has been me. This has been you. No streams tomorrow. No streams on Monday, most likely.
Yeah.
I will say again. We are planning a movie night for next week, Monday, Easter Monday.
Yep.
Please put your recommended movies in. I will do a vote. Start the vote tomorrow sometime for what we have, and then you all can decide which we watch. Yeah. And I think with that we're gonna rate one Moss, who has his anniversary today.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless I'm mixing that up completely, but I'm pretty sure it was today. So they're doing a longer stream. I would love it if you could give them some attention and support.
One more thing. Just one more thing.
Yeah.
After we complete with Sundered with Chinatown Detective Agency, I really, really, really want to do a stream of a game that came out very recently.
Okay.
That involves what was it called? It involves digesters and penguins. The Pale Beyond.
Oh no! Yes.
It's actually a very good game. It is done by the guy, what is his name, Bellular, who does lots of World of Warcraft review stuff.
That is all way too real. Yeah, I mean, you want to do that together, like as a hangout thing? Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, that would be a good hangout thing. Yep.
Yeah. You guys don't know this, but I have made Sandard and Drake sit through the Dollop episode about that one island where they put penguins into a big like furnace to make oil.
Oh my god. It's so real.
They could choose. The other one would have been someone building a bomb. Slowly building up a nuclear arsenal in their backyard.
Yep, exactly.
Which also really happened, but really they choose penguin digesters. So what can I do?
Exactly.
Certain I can Google Dollop and penguin, and then you will know. Yeah, the Atomic Boy Scouts was
Yes.
Anyway, let's get this raid on. Thank you everyone for hanging out. This was great. This was a fun episode. I didn't expect Dallas to be such a banger, but it really ended up being that, and I'm happy.
Or the creator.
Because he is again, the creator, cool guy, as far as we know. And like again, much as I like ragging on bad things, I like things to be good. And I like to find the redeeming quality in things. And we did that today, and that's a good feeling.
Yep. I mean, like Spoonie saw the significance culturally of Final Fantasy X too, and we can too, you know?
Exactly. Also, Spoonie is re-uploading all his old videos right now on his channel.
Yes.
If you haven't seen that yet. So Spoonie is coming back, maybe.
He is coming back, maybe. He did 2 interviews with a guy recently, and basically that guy, just talking to that guy has really helped his mental health.
Yeah, that's good.
Just by itself. Like he's decided, I want to get back out there. I want to stop shit posting on Twitter awful things. I want to be human again.
Good. Because much as Spoonie has done some, let's say, iffy things, he never really, like, he isn't the worst person ever, and deserves like a chance. Also, he's fucking funny. I'm sorry, but he just is. Anyway, I will see you all on Tuesday. Schedule comes Monday. Have a good one, everyone. Bye. Raid is going. Okay, and me.
We come into Moss drawing wine.